morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Burns, Director of Age Friendly Boston, an Age Strong Commission initiative at the City of Boston. The goal of Age Friendly Boston is to increase opportunities for a healthy and meaningful life. This program will be re-aired on Boston City TV, in addition to the channels that Hannah had mentioned, Monday through Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. and on Boston Neighborhood Network, BNN, throughout the week on Xfinity Channel 23, RC Channel 85, FiOS Channel 2160. I would like to introduce Brie Garner and Alima Mbabzi from the Haley House. The Haley House is a real gem in the heart of Boston's Nubian Square, newly named Nubian Square. It has an amazing history whose roots were planted over 50 years ago when a South End couple offered a cot and a meal to men in the neighborhood who were sleeping out in the street. That spirit of generosity continues today in many different ventures, and more information can be found on haleyhouse.org. So it is a real pleasure to have them here with us today. So welcome, Brie and Alima. Please take it away.
Hi, thank you so much. We're so excited to be here, and we're so excited for you all to watch our demo and learn how to cook a few of the dishes that Alima taught us how to cook here.
Thank you guys so much. Just one moment while we get your video ready and we'll start watching the demo.
Welcome to the Haley House Kitchen. My name is Brianna.
My name is Alima.
Today we're going to be making 3 African dishes that Alima taught us to make here that we're so very much in love with. We're going to start with Mandazi. It's delicious. And then we'll make chicken pilau and Kachambari.
Yes. And I'll be showing you how to mix the ingredients. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with my flour, all-purpose flour. You put it in the big bowl. And then you add dry yeast to the flour. And then you add baking powder. Then you add cardamom.
What is cardamom called?
You
call it hiliki.
Hiliki. Then you add
Sugar.
You add the sugar.
So we'll have all of our dry ingredients in the bowl before we add our wet.
Yes. Then you can mix it before you put the milk and coconut. Mix it together.
You can't smell it, but it smells so good.
So good.
So good.
So good. Then you add the little butter in it.
What your butter is going to do is it's going to coat your flour with that fat, so you can't overwork the dough as much. You won't develop as much gluten, and it'll stay really, really tender.
Yes. Yes, our butter. And then we're going to add our milk. And then we're going to add our coconut. That's the favorite part.
It's so good.
So delicious. And then you're going to mix it together. You start to mix it together, form a dough. Can you eat it more? A little bit? Okay. This is how our dough is going to look like. And then you cover it with a towel. Yes.
Wet? Not wet.
You're going to cover it with a towel. and let it rise. Pour on it and let it rise in a warm place. So we're going to place it here and let it rise for 1 hour. Okay, we are back for the Mandazi.
Back for the Mandazi.
Back to the Mandazi. Now we have our dough ready. Full in size, double in size. So what we do, just take it like that and knead it again on the board. With your roller, you roll it. Put a little flour on your roller. Then you roll it. Then, if you have a nice cutter to round it, but I'll use this glass, it will do the same nice job. You press it down like that.
And what we didn't tell you is that right now we have our oil heating up.
Yes,
I think we
have-
want our oil at 400 degrees. I'll double check that, but we'll have this all written down for you. So if whatever's written down is right. If whatever I say is probably not right.
So you just make your little round mandazis ready to fry it. You don't have to burn yourself. You take one by one, place it in there. Oh, nice.
So let's see. I'm gonna see about this. Whoop.
Okay. Beautiful. The oil is hot. The oil is hot.
So our oil is nice and hot. So they're puffing up and getting pretty dark pretty quick.
Okay. To start our chicken pilau, and we're going to start with the spices. We're going to toast them, and then afterwards we're going to ground it. With the yes, we're going to ground it.
We're going to use our Vitamix to grind our spices, but if you have a coffee grinder or a mortar and pestle, anything like that. Alternatively, if you don't have any way to grind spices, you could technically use pre-ground spices, but then you'll miss this, which is one of my favorite parts, which is the smell of toasting spices.
Yes.
It's so good. I feel like I'm going to say that a lot in this video.
Yes, better.
There are so many things that make me so happy about what we're making.
All right, so we're going to toast until they are nice and dry to be put in our Vitamix. Yes. I think I'm starting to smell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Start to smell nice. I want to make it nice and dry. Now we're going to put in our Vitamix, and we're going to grind it.
So our next step in making our pilau is cutting up our vegetables that we're adding into it. So we're adding red onion and garlic to ours. I've already cut the top off of this one because we've had so many takes. Because Alima and I are both very new at this and have been laughing a lot. But what generally you would do is you would cut your onion in half. Why you do that is that you want to have a flat surface to cut on. So you cut your onion in half, and then you can trim it kind of however you're going to use it. Since we're going to cut it into slices, I'm going to cut off the root end as well. And then we'll peel it. We want to take this peel off. And then we're just going to cut slices, like big slices of our onion. You want to make sure you're going to tuck your fingers so that the knife is right up against your knuckles, like this. And that way you can't cut your fingertips at all. You also tuck your thumb back behind the rest of your hand. You have this weird shape that there's no other reason to hold your hand like this. It's really a little bit awkward, but this is how you keep yourself safe and you can go quickly. So you hold your onion and you're just rocking your knife back and forth to get your slices. So our next step is we've got our garlic. We've got it all peeled and ready to chop up. And we're just going to rough chop it because we want lots and lots of surface area because we want a lot of garlicky flavor.
Yes.
Because it's amazing, I think. So we'll go through, clean off our knife, we'll go back and rough chop it. What else do we need? I think that's what we need, right?
Yes. In
Lots of-
our oil.
Oh yeah, we also have chicken fat, which we rendered out ahead of time. If you don't have chicken fat just lying around your house,
Use canola
you
oil.
can use, yep. But we would highly recommend rendering out fat anytime you have anytime you're cooking any sort of meat and you trim the fat off of it, save that, render it out, and then use that fat to cook in because it's so delicious and it has so much flavor. And then you don't have to, then you have to buy less oil. It's a cost saver. There's all sorts of reasons to do it. So, but primarily flavor. It's delicious. We're gonna roast it. We have it on a sheet tray with parchment paper, and then we've sprinkled a little bit of salt on it.
Yes.
And we'll cook it. We're gonna do it at 350 degrees for like 15 to 20 minutes. We're gonna check it. We'll write it down for you so you don't have to listen to what we say.
Okay. Jasmine rice. We have our onion. The red one is the best for me. And we have the garlic. We have our spices already mixed and ground. And we have our chicken whole. That's what we're going to use. And our chicken is still roasting. And we'll show you as soon as we finish to roast the chicken. All right.
So
We have our chicken oil melting. So we're going to add our onion. Fry it a little bit more until it's caramelized. Nice and caramelized. And we're going to add just a little bit of salt. So the onion can have a little bit of salt in it. Oh, yes. Yes, so I'd say like a pinch. Just a pinch. So you're going to make the video here? Oh.
okay, our onions are starting to get soft. They're nice and toasty. You can smell the mix of the chicken fat and the onions themselves. And if you don't have chicken fat on hand, you can use canola oil or safflower or any of those kind of neutral oils.
Yes.
We render out our own chicken fat, and I would recommend doing that.
So you keep on stirring until it becomes like a little bit of caramelized.
Let's see. Let's see if I can move this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You're
Is that
going
a
to
good?
keep on- yes, you're going to keep on stirring until it caramelizes. Little bit golden brown. You're going to toss it until it's golden brown. And then you're going to add your garlic. Indian, they make it brown like that, they put it on the side. And then they put on the
yeah.
pilau on top of the pilau.
So the onions get crispy and then they're like a topping rather than mixed in with the rice.
Yes. That's why I told you, everybody, they have their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very, very personal dish, huh?
Yes.
Like everybody has
Their own way.
their own spice mix, their own
Exactly.
kind of vegetable
Yes.
mix, all of that. Oh, those are getting so beautiful.
Yes. So now, I think I'll add this.
Yep. Garlic.
Yeah. I want it to burn.
Yeah, you might want to turn your heat down because your garlic is going to cook at a lower temp than you want your onions.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Nice.
You can kind of see, let me see if I can move this camera again.
Yeah.
Oh no, oh no.
Yes. You want your onions to be
Oh, nope, there it is.
nice
Found
and
it.
golden like that. To make it nice and golden.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's how you want it to be. All right.
Right. So we've got garam masala, which is a spice mix, an Indian spice mix, and then we have, additionally, we have the spice mix that we made ourselves beforehand. So you're gonna mix that in. Your rice is all like coated. It's coated in that chicken fat. It gets a little toasty. It's so,
Nice.
I love toasted rice.
Woo.
It's so delicious.
Yes. So, I'm waiting for our chicken.
Yeah, we're just waiting for that chicken to be done, and then we'll add it into our rice, cover it with water, and then let it cook. Alright, so we've got our chicken. We roasted it for about 15 minutes. Our timer didn't actually go off, but the timer was set for 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes. Now we are putting in the chicken.
There we go.
All right. Now we're putting in the chicken. And then we're going to put our water inside and let it stir.
So I actually used the water I poured into our blender that we ground our spices up in, so that we could get all of those spices out,
All the good stuff.
all that good stuff. You can also use vegetable stock or chicken stock,
Yes.
or if you boil your chicken, you can use the water that you boiled the chicken in.
Yes. All right.
I hope my body wasn't blocking all of that nice bubbling.
All right. Now we have to we have to cover it and let it cook. So, Brie,
Yeah,
the temperature.
yeah.
That's
So
it.
we want to bring it up. So we want to bring it up to a boil and then drop it down to a simmer.
Yes.
The way you would when you're cooking any sort of rice dish. You just have more stuff in this.
Yes.
So we're going to bring our heat up and then we'll drop it down. And when we drop it down, we'll cover it.
Yes.
And you probably at home, I hope, have pots that might have a lid that fits nicely on it. The pot that we're using here doesn't have a lid for it, so we're just going to cover it with tin foil as tightly as we can so that that steam stays in the pan and cooks the rice. So we got
it to the boil.
We got it to the boil. And we're just going to turn this down to that gentle, gentle simmer. So it's still steaming.
And then we'll cover it.
And we're going to cover it. And we'll let it cook for about 20 minutes or so until all that water is absorbed in the rice. And all that fat and all that spice.
Woo!
It's hot. Careful.
So we are doing better than her.
We're definitely channeling Julia Childs today. Absolutely. She's one of the greats.
Huh?
She's one of the greats. She's from Boston, did you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, can you see this? I asked you like you could respond to me. That's our pilau.
This is not good. Let me fit.
Let's see, let me see if I can pick this up and move this. Ooh.
So you can, if you
Huh?
want to check if it's nice and dry, or the water is absorbed. So that's how it looks like, and your chicken is ready. That's the best pilau. Oh, I wish you were here.
You're gonna get to cook it yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna get to enjoy it just like we get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with the kachambari, you might look at the ingredients and be like, oh, I've made this before. This is just pico de gallo, or this is salsa, or this is any other fresh tomato and onion thing that you can think of that happens all over the world.
And this one,
And it's true, but it's not true. Kachambari is like,
this is a special.
it's different somehow. I can't describe it. It's just the right mix of all of those ingredients
Yes.
to make something like truly, truly beautiful.
Yes. When you
Um,
try it, you tell us.
You're gonna love it.
Put our Kachumbari.
You need a little
Yes. We need a little bowl. A little bowl.
You need a bowl.
Yeah. So we have our pepper. Let's cut it and remove the seeds. They're on the sides. Then you can remove this. You want to put it?
No, you're great.
Okay, so that's how I do it. Got it? Got it, got it.
Using 3?
Yes.
How many?
Oh, that's
Too many?
much.
Too much.
Then you have to make it like a little tiny dice. As much you can. Tiny dices. You can put it again a little bit. can get my little dices as tiny, but you can do it your own way, the way you feel comfortable.
Yeah, this is kind of the same, right? Like, people have different ways of making kachambari. The kind of key ingredients are tomato and onion. Is that right?
Yes. So keep on going like that.
So some people leave their onion in big strips like this and use like larger tomatoes.
Yes.
So it seems like more of a salad and less like a salsa. Because I think technically it's kind of talked about as a tomato and onion salad.
Yes.
I think when it gets translated into English, that's
Yes.
kind of how it's talked about.
So we call it Kachumbari.
I love it.
Kachumbari.
It also took me like 8 tries to say it right. I made Alima say it out loud to me so many times.
Kachumbari.
Kachambari.
Okay. So delicious. Now we have what do you call it? We have the red pepper.
So you'll be able to find them in the store as a Thai bird chili.
Yes. Or you can have a green one or
Mhm.
red one, and then you dice it because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put too much. Not more than 2. But depends. Some people they like hot.
Mm-hmm.
But I advise you to put just 1 or 2.
And you can always put them in, taste it, and then add more. But it's hard to get rid of it if you've already put in a whole bunch.
Yes, it's hot, red hot.
Mm-hmm.
So
And these chilies they're called Thai bird chilies, but there are variants of them that grow in Africa.
yes,
And again, that's that same kind of what we were talking about a little bit before, is that there are so many foods that were kind of shared along that eastern coast of Africa,
and the Arabs
from
and
the Arab
Indian,
countries and from India. But what's really amazing is that everybody kind of uses those spices and uses those ingredients in different ways. So you get wildly different food cultures
Yes.
with such delicious food that it's worth trying food from everywhere.
But you try this, you're gonna love it. You're going to love it so much.
I know I do.
You can
I like dream about eating kachambari when I'm not eating it.
you can use even the big tomatoes if you have. But Brie decided she wants this one.
I do like the small tomatoes.
She liked the small.
I like the
tomatoes.
flavor of cherry tomatoes, personally. There are so many different ways to cook so many different things that
The way I see cooking sometimes is you add or you subtract something. Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. For example, there are some people who don't like the hot pepper. Yeah, you can use black pepper.
Yeah, so it's all about kind of eating and paying attention and knowing what you like.
Yes.
And that way you can make a dish that's absolutely perfect and perfectly suited to your taste buds.
Yeah, exactly.
They say there's a reason why we all prefer our mother's cooking the most.
Exactly.
And that's because our taste buds are developing when we're young. And so whatever food we're eating when we're young, we're more inclined to enjoy.
That's the best.
It's the best, right? My mom's shepherd's pie is better than anyone else's shepherd's pie.
Yeah. So my mother knows how to cook. Okay. Here I come again. Now we have our cilantro. We want to add our cilantro. We cut, chop off the stems and keep on chopping them like that, little by little, so tiny. We're going to add some all of it?
Black pepper?
Yeah, all of it.
Oh, I just grabbed as much as I thought.
Okay, so like one spoon, 1 teaspoon. You add. This is too much. Okay. Okay.
So I wasn't sure how much you would want, so I wanted to.
So another half a spoon of salt.
Okay.
And then you squeeze your lemon in two. Oh yeah, nice.
What? You can.
Okay, we squeeze our lemon in there. Squeeze our lemon.
Yeah. There we go.
Now you have your kachumbari. This is the kachumbari, delicious. Okay, we're going to show you a little bit how it goes on your plate to your mouth. This is how you do it. This is how you do it.
From your plate to your mouth.
Yes. Okay, that's it. That is your pilau. Then you put the kachumbari. On the side. Or you can.
Oh, you can put it on the side or on top.
On top, it depends on you.
However you like it.
Yes. And don't forget to put the little lemon juice
Oh yeah.
around it. That's the
That's hot.
favorite. That's the best part. And then this mandazi, you eat it like a dessert. So I just make you a plate. Yes, I make you a plate right there. That looks so good, right?
Delicious.
Okay, delicious. That's for you. Okay, that's for you.
Thank you so much for watching. It's been really, really fun for us to make this video. If you couldn't tell, it was our first time.
We are happy that you watched our video, and I hope you like our cooking and you try it at home. It's so delicious.
It's really, really delicious.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Alima and Brie, thank you so much. Those recipes look delicious. And I can see we have so many questions and comments coming in, and we have about 15 or 20 minutes now to hear from the audience. So thank you guys. You might be on mute at the moment.
Yes, we were on mute. Sorry about that.
Well, thank you so much for presenting all those dishes.
Oh, thank you. We had so much fun doing it.
I could tell it was fun to watch you guys cook. So our first question is actually from a Facebook viewer who wanted to know, could we hear more about the region that these dishes are from, and are they all from the same region?
So that's going to be for you to answer.
Say it again.
Where are they from? Do you want to talk about where the dishes come from?
Oh, the dishes are from East Africa. These dishes are from East Africa, and mainly it's original from the Arabs and the Indians. Yes, and then the spices. In African too, we share the same food in East Africa. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next question, how many of these elements can be prepared in advance? And is anything actually better if you do prepare it in advance?
The pilau is better actually the next day. Once those spices have time to kind of sit and everything like that, I would say the kachumbari is best fresh and the mandazi are best fresh.
Yes.
But you can prepare, I would say the kachumbari probably holds for about 2 days. And we have done the mandazi where we've made the dough the night before. It just then takes longer. Essentially, you want to get it up to room temperature before you fry it.
Okay, so you would do all the steps, stick it in the fridge, and then take it out the next day and bring it to room temperature?
Yep.
Virginia says, hello, everything looks so good. What place, would you ever add nuts, raisins, or fruit to the pilau?
That's a good question. Like I said, cooking sometimes is to add something or to take out the way you like it. Yes, but originally, that's how you do it. Yes, but you can add something, new something. You can add something.
Just that personalization you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know a lot of people who watch sometimes are vegetarian or might be trying to eat more plant-based. If you were to leave out the chicken, do you guys have a recommendation for what might be good in place of chicken?
Yes, you can use beef, goat, or beef, cow meat.
And we've actually done a vegetarian version with potatoes.
Yes, you can do with potatoes if you don't eat meat at all. You can do with the Irish potatoes. Yes, and you can add some raisin if you like. Yes.
Great. Just reading through our comments here. The video was excellent. Chefs did a great job. Someone says, I found on the internet a bread pudding made with leftover mandazi. On the internet, it was presented as a dessert, but this seems more like a bread or an accompaniment to the chicken. So would you guys want to talk about that?
We have actually made a bread pudding out of leftover mandazi, and it is very nice. But we've served it, when we serve it in the cafe, we serve it as more of a breakfast item. It's kind of like a donut, kind of taking the place of a donut. And I believe in Tanzania, they're like served as a street food. It's just like a snack that you would get.
Or a morning breakfast for breakfast, or a snack with soda or juice. Yes.
A lot of people are commenting about the mandazi. It looks very good.
Yeah, somebody said they already made it for breakfast this morning. That was such a neat thing to hear.
Yeah, it's delicious.
We have a question also about that recipe. Did you use whole milk and whole coconut milk in the dough?
We did. Yep.
Yes.
How many of the mandazi would you put in the oil at one time?
I would say that depends on the size of the pot that you're using. You just want to give it enough space so that you can kind of get your ladle in there to flip them over.
Yes.
Just make sure that you have space. That's
And it depends on how big or small you make them. Yes.
Right. Yeah, someone was asking as well how long they fry in the oil, and it looked like till they were pretty golden brown. Is there a time estimate you'd give? I guess it will depend on the size too.
Yeah, we generally recommend like a minute per side, but again, you'll have to watch kind of the temperature of your oil and how big they are, and how thick you roll them. So that'll be kind of a determining factor. I think we wrote in the recipe a minute per side. but I don't remember what I wrote.
It's a minute. I'm sorry.
Questions about the exact amounts and timing. And just as a reminder to everyone watching, you will have an email if you haven't already with all the recipes.
And there aren't exact amounts on some things, like for the water, for instance, that we poured into the pilau, we just said enough water to cover. And that, as a general rule of thumb, water about like an inch above the level of your rice is a good gauge. I also use a ratio when I'm cooking rice in a pot on the stove. I'll do a 1 to 1.5 ratio for white rices of rice to water. I do a closer to 1 to 1 if I'm cooking in a rice cooker that has a more controlled heat and less water loss. If that's helpful, I don't know.
So, another great helpful tip you guys had was with the knife. You showed us how to put our knuckles against the knife instead of fingertips, and where to put your thumb. And a lot of people might be wondering, when you're at home and using a knife, are there ways you can improve your knife skills? You guys had that onion chopping so fast. How could people at home work on their knife skills if they wanted to?
I think mostly like paying attention to how you hold your hand and making sure your fingers are out of the way, and committing to that no matter how awkward it feels, because it feels so weird when you're learning to do it. And I every so often, just to like put myself in the mindset of like what new cooks are feeling, I'll do it with my left hand. Be like, oh, this is awful. But it's so worthwhile once you learn it. The other piece is, I don't know if I said this in the video, but if you're slicing like that, you can keep, and you're using a chef's knife that has that rounded tip, you want to keep the tip of the knife on the cutting board. So it's just a rocking motion, and you never actually lift the knife all the way up off the board. So that'll also keep your hand really safe, because there won't be a chance to kind of like bring the knife down on your hand. And if you're holding the way you hold the handle of the knife, I know a lot of times there's a temptation to like hold your finger out along the blade. And I do this sometimes, and I might have done it in the video. It's a habit I'm trying to break. And that's a little less stable. So if you can kind of like, you want to hold the handle of the knife with your thumb on the side of the blade as well. Anything you can do, think in terms of keeping your fingers out of the way, and you're probably on the right track.
We actually have some more questions about chopping. Someone says, could you name the type of knife you were using and what size that was?
Oh, I think we were just using 10-inch chef knives that we have in the kitchen.
We have a great question from Mary, who says, are there any spice mix sheets you might recommend for the pilau? For those of us who have limited time to maybe can't always grind our own spices.
Oh yeah, you can use pre-ground spices if you want to. Absolutely. And you can also adjust the amounts of all of the spices in that mix for what you personally enjoy. You know, like not everyone likes clove. Clove can be a really, like, I think clove and nutmeg are two spices that get used very heavy-handed, and people have like can have really adverse reactions to them. So like if you don't like cloves, leave clove out. Or if you don't have cloves on your shelf, you know, like you are your best judge of what you like. And so it's great to like try new things and expand your palate, but also like pay attention to the things that make you really happy to eat. Mm-hmm. And like put more, if you love cinnamon, put more cinnamon in it, you know?
That's great advice for so if you were to pre-grind your own spices and they're so fresh right after you grind them, how long would you store those for?
I generally use spices that I've made immediately. Like I would do them But if you have an airtight container, they should be good. And they're like nice and dry when you grind them. They should be good to sit like shelf stable for at least a month. It depends. Different spices have different shelf lives. So depending on what you put in it, it would have, but I would say as long as you don't keep it for more than a month, most dried spices you're going to be okay with. I would, if people are super curious about spices, my favorite book is The Spice Companion. And that can give you like really, really deep specifics about different spices, what they go with, how to use them. And if you're a history nerd at all, like I am, then it also gives you like a brief history of the spice and where it came from and how it's been used. So highly recommend Spice Companion.
That sounds really interesting. I'm just going through our chat here to look for more questions. Are Kachambari and chicken Palau, are they always served together?
Yes. That's what makes it delicious. Yeah.
Someone asked, could they use dried chilies in the Kachambari instead of fresh?
Yes. Or the flakes one.
Yeah, we have in the past used the red pepper flakes.
Could you recommend a good shop for fresh spices? I guess this will depend on where everyone's viewing from, but
A good shop for buying spices. A good shop for buying spices.
Yes, in the Indian store, you can get those spices.
Oh yeah, we went to one
In Waltham.
in Waltham. Let me see if I can find the name of it. There's also, I want to say there's a little Indian shop near the Market Basket in Somerville. I don't remember the name of it. That also has a really great spice selection.
Yeah, but the one at the Waltham,
I would
is the
recommend just
big one.
going to that store in Waltham, because just like
Everything, they have all the
they have
spices there.
so much produce. Like when we went, I was literally like taking pictures of produce because I was like, I've never heard of this thing. And it was really, yeah.
Yeah, it can really be fun to shop. Someone from our chat is recommending Penzies for buying spices.
Oh, where is that?
Let's see. If you can tell us where we can go to buy those spices, that would be great.
Yes, 350. Waltham.
Is it this one?
350. Waltham.
Yeah, so Waltham India Market at 315 Moody Street
Okay, I'm going to type that in the chat for everyone.
Yes.
is one of the places we would definitely recommend.
Can you repeat that address one more time?
315 Moody Street in Waltham. Oh yeah, I see somebody said Curio Spices. That's a local company. I think the woman who started that business started at Sofra Bakery, and then started her own business. And then if you're buying online, there's a company called Diaspora, and they're incredible. And they're really responsible about their sourcing, and it's a little bit on the more expensive side for that reason, because they're like super responsible about their sourcing, and they have a relationship with all of the farmers. But that's a really, really great, I think it's a woman-owned company, maybe based in the Bay Area, I want to say. But yeah.
Oh, great. And lots of people are chiming in the
Yeah, people have some really great, Russo's is one of my favorite stores to just be in.
I guess a final question, if people wanted to make more dishes in this tradition from this region, do you have any sources you go to or any recommendations for what people can try next after they make the dishes presented?
Any sources for finding more recipes from this area of the world, or any other dish recommendations that? Yeah, so You can say, I don't know. You use YouTube to find a lot of recipes?
Yeah, you can use YouTube to find some recipes from all over the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Gail just said in BB's Kitchen, that's an excellent cookbook. That it's broken down by country, and it's really, really phenomenal. It's really, really well done. Yeah, there's a website called Taste Atlas that you can search by country, and you can like kind of read about the regional dishes of that country, and they do. I haven't used them for all countries. I've looked up Tanzania and Uganda specifically, and I thought they had some good information for those two. But that might be a good.
And they have also a different kind of pilau in Afghanistan, and the Saudis, they cook different pilaus too. You can find it too on the YouTube. Yeah, they'll teach you how to do it so good too.
Yeah, the YouTube recipes is a great rabbit hole to go down. I feel like sometimes just like the things, like if you find one person that's making something that you like and just see what like all of their other videos,
Yes.
that can be a really great resource.
There's so many great recipes to try.
Yeah.
At this time, I'm going to invite Barbara from the Armenian Heritage Park on the Greenway on screen.
Yay.
Maybe on mute.
There we go. Thank you so much. I think we were all so very intrigued, and what was wonderful was to watch the joy and the just watching you work together. It takes us with our, we're cooking with our children or grandchildren. You showed us the joy that cooking together can bring. Thank you very, very, very much. For all of you, I suggest, Haley House Bakery and Cafe is just one of many extraordinary initiatives of Haley House. You have a soup kitchen, you have housing, you have an urban farm, and you're very connected within the community and the schools. We look forward to collaborating with you, continuing this wonderful collaboration. And once you're open and ready, I know you're doing takeout now. We all have to meet at the Haley House and also meet at Armenian Heritage Park. So thank you all very much for joining us today. We just love this. Enjoy today, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.